retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. No pain for their disease. Rage is like a weed, spread into the streets. It's time to make them bleed. 'Cause we just want retribution. Let's go light up the darkness. Make true of an empty promise. Flip gods into weak and harmless. Take to the streets and turn them to a mosh pit. 'Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, 'cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't be scared. Just look up.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into What's Shaking Titans. I am your host, Gary Bailey, and joining me right over here, your co-host, we lost somebody, guys, so I do apologize for our little hiccups here. If you'll give me just 1 second, we'll get this worked out. Alright, so joining me right now is Lee Hills of the 615 podcast. So Lee, just want to give a huge shout out to you. Real quick, man, if you want to take the time to kind of give out, where everybody can check you out and find all your socials and stuff.
Yeah, y'all can find me on Twitter at podcast 615 on Twitter, Instagram, or it's now X. But Instagram is at _615 podcast. You can find me on YouTube, the 615 podcast. Also, you can also find me on the Titan Upload Network.
All right, man. So, guys, real quick, if you're new to the show, please hit the like button, give us a big old like, comment, let us know what you think throughout the show, as well as follow us on all of our different social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, or X, as Lee pointed out. Man, Lee, we got a lot to unpack here. Let's go ahead and hop right into it. Looks like we got our third co-host back in, so we're gonna get this worked out for you guys. So sorry for the hiccups there. So I want to welcome in our co-host Mason Hollingsworth. So Mason, how's it going, brother?
It's going really well. Just my computer does not want me to join in today.
Awesome. And then real quick, guys, we got Bryce from the Bryce and Haley show in the comments. He said I'm here, so I want to give a huge shout out to him. But yeah, all right. So we're gonna start today out, man. We're gonna talk about Titans versus Bears. So we're gonna give a recap. We're gonna give our thoughts and opinions. I'm gonna shoot it over to Lee for being our special guest. So he'll get to start us out today. So Lee, you want to share your thoughts on the Titans and Bears game?
Well, even though this game was not the way we expected, there's still a lot of good at this game. Malik Willis and as we were talking about before, Kevin Dyson alluded to the maturity and the improvement of Malik. And the reason I would say that is he's now had a full NFL offseason to prepare. Unlike last year.
Yeah, Kevin Dyson was on 104.5 The Zone, and he kind of spoke out to how Malik Willis, just looked, I guess you could say, more mature, as a quarterback. He looked more poised in the pocket. You definitely tell, like, in my opinion, he looked night and day different. He looked like a whole new quarterback. Like, who is this guy, and when did we draft him?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, Willis really, really shined. What's your thoughts on how Levis performed?
I'm going to say he looks like Malik from last year. Needs a lot of improvement. There are things he can grow on. But other than that, he didn't look bad. If you go back and watch the show from Wednesday night over on my channel, the 615 podcast, you will see some of the highlights from Malik and Will Levis. And the thing that I really like about Will from the game in Chicago was his escapability. If it looked like a play was going to break down, he found a way to get out of it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, man. Mason, what are your thoughts on the Titans versus Bears?
Definitely did not go the way I expected, but for playing against their starters and us starting like the backups and third strings, I think we did decent. There's always room for improvement, especially on the screen passes. I don't know what we were doing there. So if we could fix that, I think we can have a good game.
Yes, definitely, man. I was sitting there. If you go back to I think last week's podcast, I kept saying, man, I hope we don't see screens. I hope we don't. And it's because the infamous Todd Downing left us scarred last year, from the run pass to the terrible never work screenplays on 4th and 3. So at least we didn't see them on 4th and 3. I think we did have one 4th down that we tried to convert there, if I'm correct.
And it was late.
Yes, it was late in the game. And so one thing I want to say, I feel like, offensively, like we said, Malik Willis got off to a fiery start, especially behind the starting O-line. They looked really, really sharp out there, even though it was just for one drive. And then Will Levis got out there, and he kind of, he struggled a little bit out of the gate, but then, he eventually put together a scoring drive. And I think it was it Haskins who ended up running it in for a touchdown on that drive. Yeah.
On the second score.
Yeah. And, I feel like the secondary, struggled a lot when it come to, just kind of staying covered to their guys. we definitely struggled when it came to the pass rush. But one thing I did notice defensively that is a staple of the Tennessee Titans is the run defense. It was there, and we showed up and showed out on defense, and that was really good to see. But you would hope that one thing that we get to see improvement on in the Vikings game would be, being able to pressure the quarterback. We struggled. We struggled a lot pressuring the quarterbacks.
Yes.
Like, if you were a Bears quarterback, it was you had literally a year to find an open receiver. So, you know, I think there's still a lot of growth. We also got to remember it's preseason. We didn't have a lot of starters on defense playing. So we got to take all that with a grain of salt as well. Any other things y'all want to kind of talk about before we move on here?
I'm gonna say this about the whole screen game, but from us defensively, the one thing we did not do so well is we did not stay home.
That's right.
We allowed I think it was a 64-yard screen pass and a 56-yard screen pass that both went for scores. I'm gonna make this as a point. If those two screen passes do not hit, the Titans probably win that game.
Yep, you're right.
Because outside of that, all they had was 3 field goals out of that. Outside those 2 big screenplays.
Yeah, and of course, if you lived in Middle Tennessee and you were watching that game, you would know right after the first drive. And I'm telling you guys, if my wife would have got this on video, y'all would have had something to laugh at. But right after the first drive, during the Bears' first possession, our game was rudely interrupted due to via tornado warning, and yours truly was not too thrilled with the news lady for interrupting the Titans game.
Oh, neither was Robert Walsh, Ron Kayla and Will on 104.5. He was like, I don't care about the tornado.
Yeah, I know. And my whole point is like, hey, look, there are 4 other news channel people can tune into to catch the weather if they're in an emergency situation like a tornado. Like, give us the Titans game. Some of us don't care if there's a tornado. We're going to go out watching the boys in two-tone blue playing. But yeah, so I kind of missed. I was getting to is I missed that first one right there, and just
DJ Moore.
Yeah, and I caught it at the end, and I was so mad because I was just like, man, if we would have stuck with him, there's no way he took that to the house like he did. But yeah, I missed it, man.
There were a lot of questionable calls in that play. There was a block in the back on their offensive line. And because that officiating crew was highly suspect.
Yeah, and you would think the NFL would have their officiating crew situation figured out.
Ducks in a row.
Yeah, but it still seems like that's going to be something we struggle with. Mason, you got any extra thoughts you want to kind of throw in there real quick, buddy?
So, were you able to see the Titans' first drive, though?
Oh, boy, did I ever see the Titans' first drive. I wasn't going to miss that. Yeah. So, I got to see the whole drive. I got to see the whole first drive there. And, man, like I said, Malik Willis, when he came out behind that starting offensive line,
had the 30-yard pass the first play.
Yeah, I feel like Malik Willis answered a lot of the big questions we had. We got to see some passes where he was throwing receivers open. We got to see him go through his progressions. We got to see him not just panic and run out of the back of the pocket, but, keep his eyes downfield and look for an open receiver. So, we had a lot of the questions answered for us. And, I believe it was on the Power Hour on Monday. I was kind of co-hosting with Michael Bishop and Lee Hills here. And they were talking about Malik Willis's time to pass the football was actually the lowest it's ever been since we drafted him.
Yeah, it was 3.18 seconds.
Yeah, so we're getting to see that level of improvement. Because before it was what 4 point when we first got him the first game.
Almost 4.0.
Yeah, and so
4 seconds.
Yeah, and that. Sorry guys, I got something in my eye. And that has gone down a lot. So well, not like a tremendous.
He's
but,
taken almost a complete second off.
Yeah. So that first drive looked really sharp. Really loved, and I mean loved what I got to see from Tajay Spears.
I'm gonna say this about Malik. Malik was extremely efficient.
Yes.
And I'm gonna say this: didn't Chris Moore look a little bit like AJ Brown out there?
Rocking that
number 11.
Number 11, yeah. Yeah, he looked a lot. He looked a lot like AJ Brown till he got clocked.
Until he got his bell wrong.
Yeah, once he got his bell wrong, I was just like, oh well, it's not AJ. But yeah, man, I gotta see that first drive. What is your opinions on the first drive, Mason?
Well, I feel like it could have been a touchdown on the very first play if Chris Moore could have ran it just a little bit faster, could have done a little bit more. But I think it went pretty well. It was cool to see Willis take it in for a touchdown by himself, because he hasn't really had that much opportunity with the offensive line he's been playing with.
But there's a point to make to Malik Willis. And this was made on Wednesday night on my show. Malik has started how many games? 5?
Somewhere around. Oh, yeah.
He still does not have a touchdown pass. He's got 0 touchdowns to 5 interceptions in his career so far.
That is really interesting to think about.
Yeah, it really is, and
so that could be a cause for concern to some Titans fans.
Yeah, and I think that's why everybody, when we drafted Will Levis, was calling for Malik to be gone. But I kind of made this point. Malik struggled driving the ball down the field last year. And let's just be honest, we can't put all that on Malik Willis. Now, yes, a lot of it was his fault, but look at the O-line that we were playing behind.
Turnstile at left tackle.
Yeah, Dennis don't block nobody, who every time the ball was hiked was like, ooh, a piece of candy. Ooh, a piece of candy.
Ooh, piece of candy.
So... I don't put all of that on Malik Willis. I feel like Malik Willis has something special about him. And, maybe we get to see it here, as him being a Tennessee Titan. Maybe not. Maybe we'll see it somewhere else. But, when you really take the time to get to watch, Malik Willis play, he flashes that it factor from time to time. So I always tell people, don't be sleeping on Malik Willis, because he might hop up and surprise you.
Exactly, yeah. 100%. Malik, as you said, has that. I'm going to change the word up there. He has that wow factor.
Yes.
Like, when you watch him, you're like, wow.
Like, how did he just pull out? Like, last year, and I don't think we haven't seen it yet this year, but last year, he had one of the best sidearm passes I have ever seen. And I mean, this man could throw it from he could throw it from any angle, like this. I mean, anyway. And he was delivering a dart. And I was just like, man, like how is that possible? But yeah, he had a really good Mahomes-esque sidearm pass, and
I can't wait to see him try pulling out the no look.
Yeah. Definitely. And then let's go to our comments real quick, guys. We got the Titan Upload Network here. It says, hopefully Levis isn't dealing with anything serious. So, yeah, we were going to hop into, the injuries news in just a little bit. But, yeah, so apparently yesterday during practice, Will Levis was escorted off the field by the training staff with a mysterious injury. We have no clue as to what that injury could be, how severe it is. Uh,
All I've seen is its lower body. That's all I've seen.
yeah, Paul Parker.
Paul Kaharski.
Thank you. Yeah, Paul Kaharski reported that it was a lower body injury. So we'll definitely, hopefully, find out more tomorrow as the game time approaches. But yeah, we'll actually break all that down in more detail in just a minute. But with all that being said, guys, let's hop into let's grade. Let's give out some grades here. We'll start with Mason. Mason, what grades would you give the starting O line?
Ooh, the starting offensive line from this game. I feel like you just got to give it an A from what at least from the first drive. I mean, just not really many issues. I don't think there were too many flags. I think maybe one holding.
Won the whole first drive.
Which is a big difference from last year. So that's good to see. So you just see a lot of improvement.
Yeah, and if I'm correct, we had what, 2 flags the first drive. We had the delay a game.
There was one. That's all it was the delay game.
Okay, yeah, all right. I was just making sure. So yeah, we had to delay a game, and then which was a little bit on Malik, and according to Mike Vrabel, apparently some of the other players weren't in the right position. So, I have to go back and actually rewatch that to find out, more detail on that. But all right, how about you, Lee? What's your grade for the starting O line?
Well, as Mason said, you really only have one drive to really look at with this offensive line, with the starting offensive line at that. And I'm gonna go B+ on it because there's a lot of room to grow. You had a rookie right there at left guard in Peter Skoronski. You had a guy who you literally signed off the street at right tackle.
Yeah, and I like your grades at B+. I'm gonna go A- for the starting O line,
So right in between.
yeah, so right in between both of y'all, I'm gonna throw mine in there at an A-, and I'm gonna do that because I feel like I want to see more from the starting O line before I really say, okay, this is a huge improvement from what we had last year. So it's going to take some time to kind of just see that for me to really give a educated grade on the starting O line. But for one drive we got to see, I felt like they were a lot sharper, a lot more crisp than they were last year.
More improved.
Yeah, definitely more improved. We didn't see a lot of people getting pressure on the quarterbacks, which was or on Willis, which was good. If I'm correct, not one Chicago Bear was able to get into the pocket. So that was the comforting thing to see. From the starting guys. So what is y'all's? Go ahead.
But as the game went on, you started seeing those sacks pile up.
Yep, definitely.
And I think I made mention of this, or was it Wednesday night or was it Monday night? The sack number is what really concerned me.
Yeah, I think that was Monday.
8 sacks given up by this offensive line. And that was mostly your second and third string.
Yeah, definitely. So real quick, guys, I know that y'all are probably like, what's going on with the scene changes? I am having some hiccups over here on my side. We're just got moved, so kind of getting the studio, all the little kinks worked out here. So I do apologize for all that. I promise you by the end of the show, I'll have the scene changes down correctly. So the Power Hour says, let's throw up his comment here. He says, I'll go incomplete. I like what we saw, but I need to see more to make a proper evaluation. Yeah, so, like I said, mine was just kind of, I went in between, and it was kind of because, I agree with the Power Hour. It's just, we got to, and what both of y'all said.
Small sample size.
We just got to see more. We just got the smallest of sample size. Who's to say they might get out, tomorrow and just look like absolute
Like goose
dog
egg.
garbage. Like, we don't know that yet. We need to see them for, longer periods to really give that educated, grade on them. But let's go ahead and talk, the secondaries, the second streams, the third streams, the fourth streams on the O line. What grade do y'all give them? Because like you alluded to, right after the starters came out, we were giving up sacks like it was an all you can eat buffet. What's your thoughts on it, Mason?
You know, it's like we had Dennis Daly on all five sides. He was just lined up 5 times. I It almost looked like we were gonna get double-digit sacks, and it was just rough to watch. Definitely could definitely be like an F grade there.
Definitely, definitely. And Mason, let me ask you this: if you could pick one person who was on the second or third stream offensive line to actually kind of fill in with the starters, who would it be?
Uh, was it was Duncan on the second and third string, or was he on the starting line?
He was on the third.
Okay, I would
He-
think that Duncan could be good.
He was lined up right there at left tackle.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say this: mentioning Duncan. Duncan was, in my mind, the best player right there in that rotation in that third string. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him possibly as a second string tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I mean,
And I will say this: there was a play that I literally had flashbacks with him wearing number 79. Panda. Isaiah Wilson.
Yes. Oh man.
I'm like, here comes the ghost of John Robinson to haunt us again.
Bro, oh my goodness, I gotta send you a picture, and it was like the Scooby Doo where where he goes to unmask the guy, and he unmasked him, and it is a picture of John Robinson. And he's like, "I'm here." Oh man, it's hilarious. So, with that being said, Lee, what is your actual grade on everybody
The
else?
overall?
Yeah, the overall grade for the offensive line, excluding the starters.
I would have to go way lower. There was some good, but there was a lot of bad. And because I mentioned the sack number. After the starters came out, it was literally like the dam broke.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it
you ain't
looked
lying
like-
there.
Like it looked like what we did to Cincinnati in the playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna have to go a D on that.
A D. I feel you on that one. And then again, Mason, if you could remind me of your grade, because I was kind of editing stuff. So what was your grade?
I just went with just the lowest one with the F there.
F. So for me, I personally feel like kind of like what Lee said here is, we've seen some good, but we also seen a lot of bad. So I would go probably. I'm gonna split y'all. I'll probably go D minus. Go right there in the middle again. I don't want to sit here and give them a really high grade, because there was a lot of bad, but there was also some good, enough good to where I feel like I can't give them an F, but I don't think it was enough good to say anything higher than a D minus or a D. So I'm gonna go to the comments real quick, guys, and we got Bryce from the Bryce and Haley show. So definitely go over there real quick, guys. I'm gonna do a quick plug for a couple of people here. So want to give a quick plug to the Tighten Upload Network. Definitely go check them out on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify. I think are y'all on Spotify?
No,
No, you're not. Okay, so Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
no.
No,
It's only
just
Facebook and Twitter.
okay.
Titan, just search Titan Upload Network on Facebook, and on X it's at Titan Up Network.
Yes, and then definitely check them out. Check out the Power Hour. Michael Bishop, he does a real great show with new co-host. Lee Hills here. He's been going at it with them for a few months now, and they have
Since March.
yeah since March, and they do really good. So I was actually a guest host on that show this past Monday. So it was really awesome to kind of be a part of that. We had a blast. So definitely go check out the Power Hour. He's also on Facebook, Twitter, or X. I'll get that here eventually. Facebook, X, and YouTube, if I'm correct. And then the Bryson Haley Show, who streams live on YouTube, typically on Wednesday. So he originally said he grades them at a C minus, but then he changed it to a D plus. So he kind of went down there. Yeah, I couldn't go no higher than a D minus. I know. Lee went D. Mason was harsh on him. He said, "F, y'all failed. Get off my team."
Failure.
Oh,
As in fumble.
F.
Very good.
Oh man. All right, guys. So let's talk wide receivers real quick. What is your thoughts on the wide receivers we got to see out there, and what grade do you give the wide receiver group that actually played during the Bears game? And Lee, you wanna kind of tell us your thoughts on that?
Well, looking at who all was out there, you had Chris Moore, who's a new guy on the team. You had Gavin Holmes, Mason Kinsey, who we love at the network. Um, Reggie Roberson, Curious Jackson. You had some of the big guys out there. So just out of those five guys, I would have to go probably a C plus on that, because there's a lot of room to grow for those guys. And the question mark is, of those guys, who makes this roster? We know Chris Moore does.
Yeah,
I think he's definitely right now your number 4.
yeah. I definitely see Chris Moore making this roster. I think he did really good. Real quick, we're gonna go back to our comments. So the Power Hour, as I was just giving the plug, he said he's also on TikTok and Twitch. So definitely go check out Michael Bishop and Lee Hill of the Power Hour on all their social media platforms, as well as Lee's own podcast, the 615 podcast, and then the Titan Upload Network. Check all them out. They're all great watches. They're real educated. I really love watching them. It really kind of fires me up. And then the Bryson Haley Show as well. Check them out. They do a really good job. We here at What's Shaking Titans are actually kind of partners with them, so you'll catch one of us on their show every now and then, and vice versa. Our actual special guest for next week will be Bryce, so we're really looking forward to that. But yeah, man, I like Chris Moore. I think Chris Moore is going to be like a really good receiver for us. And then, like you said, Mason Kinsey. I feel like Kinsey,
He's a dark horse.
he's a dark horse, yeah. And I think he's gonna show up and show out on special teams. And then maybe come in at that at the wide receiver 4 or wide receiver 3 spot for us. What is
Yeah.
what is y'all's thoughts, Mason? What is your thoughts on Mason Kinsey, and what grades do you give the receiver core?
A plus for his name. Gotta just add that there. With how he plays, I feel like he's gonna have like a battle with him and Kyle Phillips. I feel like they kind of have a similar style, especially with like kick returns and how they play like that. So I think it's gonna be interesting to see how they play. I do know a lot of people were disappointed with how Chris Moore played, but just from a couple plays. But I think he's gonna play well, and I give it a B for this game.
B. Yeah, so I feel like the Titans receiver group from the Bears, like I said, they did a pretty fair job. I would have liked to see some of our deeper pieces, be a little bit more productive than what they actually were. So I'm gonna kind of give them, I'll grade them at a B minus. As a whole, I really liked where they were starting out, especially the first group we had out there. With Malik Willis and then the starting O line, it was on point. They were getting open. When they weren't getting open, they would change direction, and Malik was able to hit them. So it was really good to see. So I'm gonna go B minus on that. And then we're gonna go to the comments once again. We got Al Pierce, and he says, "Tighten up, guys! Go Titans! Kick massive tail. Oilers struck." Yeah, so man, let me tell you, I am super excited for the Oilers throwback games. And thank God what Warren Moon said was true, and we get to wear them against the Texans. I'm so hyped about it. I was like, Amy Adams is straight up a savage for doing that. But yeah, so we'll go back to Lee here. Lee, is there any more thoughts you have on the wide receivers that we got to see during Week 1 preseason?
Hypothetically, we're gonna pull this up and see who all was out there, because there was a lot of people that played in that game.
Yeah.
You saw too many people in my mind.
Yeah. And now, correct me if I'm wrong. I think they had a set group of receivers that would play with Willis, and then a set group of receivers that played with Levis.
The guys that played, you had Racy McMath,
Yeah.
Trayshawn Harrison, Chris Moore, Reggie Roberson, Julius Chestnut, Gavin Holmes, NWI, Kyle Phillips. So there were quite a few people who played in that receiving in the receiving game. You had Josh Wiley, who it kind of scared me to put him out there because he has the fumbles.
Yeah, the butterfingers. Whoop, right out my hands.
Racy McMath had a decent game.
Yes, he did.
3 catches, 53 yards. He was your highest receiver in yards. But Mason Kinsey was your highest in receptions. Because Mason went 4 for 40.
What was Cal Phillips total for the game?
1 for 5. 1 catch for 5 yards. Colton Dowell went 1 for 6. NWI 1 for 8. Gavin Holmes went 1 for 14. Reggie Roberson went 2 for 20. Kyrus Jackson went 2 for 34.
Ooh.
Yeah, I like Kyrus Jackson. I feel like he's going to be an underrated player.
I could see him making this roster as maybe one of the guys that just slips in the back door.
So we were just talking about Johnson, right? And Mason, you were saying you really like him. So you want to kind of elaborate on that real quick, and then we'll kind of continue on.
Well, he's not really being talked about with many people, but I think he can be a receiver kind of like Mason Kinsey, and not really noticed by many people, but can make some big plays in big moments. And I think he might have been doing some kick returns possibly. I definitely think that he can be a big help, and I think he has a little bit of speed with him, so it's going to be exciting to see him.
Yeah. Before we get into our sleepers, who we believe will be a sleeper in the running back group, I want to kind of allude on some things real quick, at least with Josh Wiley. I feel like Wiley had I feel like he has a really, really great potential. he's a tall target. You know, he definitely has a high vertical jump. Um, but my one downside to Wiley is if you go up and you get both hands on a football, you have to come down with that. It don't matter how high the ball was thrown, where it was located. If you're able to get both hands on the ball and semi grip it, you know, don't let that ball slip out of your hands. That you know, and I'm alluding to the Malik Willis pass that ended up getting intercepted. It got intercepted right after it slipped out of his hands. And yeah, that pass was a little high, but you have to come down with that ball, especially once you get both hands on it. Other than that, you know, I feel like a sleeper for us this year. You know, I feel like a lot of people would probably say like NWI or something like that, but I'm gonna go Kyle Phillips, and I know he only had 1 for 5, but I really feel like Kyle Phillips has that Wes Welker type vibe and play to him. And he could be an addition in the slot, you know, when we have D Hop and Burks, you know, on the outside. I feel like that would be, you know, something that we could really probably see a lot of. But, you know, he has to be able to you know, get open. He has to be able to, you know, be consistent. Honestly, we just really haven't seen enough out of him yet for me to really say that. But I feel like Cal Phillips could be a sleeper. Who do you believe will be a sleeper? And we'll shoot it to Lee.
So there's a couple places I could go. On this offense in general, you could say a guy like Racy McMath, maybe, could be a huge sleeper.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look in that running back room, you're looking at a guy like a Jonathan Ward or Julius Chestnut. Or you could even mention Hassan Haskins.
Ooh, yeah, man. I don't know. I don't feel like Haskins is gonna make it on the team this year.
I don't think he will because of the legal issue.
Yeah, well, you know, legal issue aside, I feel like it's just because we have
There's so much talent in that running back room.
Exactly. And then, you know, we
You
got
Julius Chestnut, Jonathan Ward, Jaquise Patrick, who we'll hit on later in the show.
Yeah.
Tajay Spears, Derrick Henry.
Yeah, there's so
You
much
can
talent.
only keep 3 of those guys. And I said this, I think Jaquise Patrick makes this roster if he comes and shows out.
Yeah, you know, I think it. You said was it? It was on your show on the 615 podcast last night. Wednesday, right?
Yeah,
Wednesday. Yeah, sorry, my bad. But you said on your podcast that you felt like this, you know, could possibly be a second coming of Derrick Henry, or was he saying that about Tajay
Spears?
With
Yes.
Tajay Spears? Okay.
All because that huge, filthy stiff arm.
Yeah, he did deliver a nasty stiff arm.
And I don't think the guy's landed yet.
You know, well, they do say that Josh Norman's still floating out there in space somewhere. So,
Well, I think the guy that Tajay Spears, I think he just landed in London.
yeah, well, yeah. If London, I mean, he might be all the way in Japan right now, learning a new language and a new culture.
I say, man, I'm done with Tennessee.
Yeah. Oh man. So I'm gonna go through our comments real quick. We got Al Pierce with
The
another.
Great Reverend.
Yes, with another good comment here. He said, "I'm interested in seeing kick return, punt return, our kickers. We need big production out of this SP group, and the kickers haven't impressed me at all." So, yeah, you know, let's go ahead. We'll hop onto the special teams woes, and we'll grade them, and then we'll really break down, you know, the kickers and the kick return and all that. So let's start with the kickers, okay, guys. What grade do you give our kickers? Whichever one of y'all want to kind of answer first, go for it.
I mean, just seeing, I think it was Trey Wolf, I think, was the one that missed like twice, around 40 yards, I think. It was a mid-tier performance, C minus, I would have to say. I mean, just nothing great. I think we were able to make one, maybe two field goals. So, I mean, if we're able to make something, that's good, but we need to make all of them.
And yeah, that one field goal that was made was by Caleb Shudak.
Oh, okay.
So, if I had to put a grade on this, I would go the same place, C minus, maybe even a C average. But if I was had to pick a winner of that kicker competition right now, it would be Caleb Shudak. In game, it's Caleb Shudak.
Yes, yeah. You literally read my mind there, bro. Yeah, so I'm going right there with him at a C minus. I just feel like both guys have a lot to improve on, but Caleb definitely I felt like kind of separated himself a little bit. Still not what I think we need long run for our special teams for our kicker. So I really hope that we don't get no doinks or mixed kicks. It's those really, and especially if we go off of last year, we kind of rely on those 50-yard field goals, those 40-yard field goals, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'd say this, that the only way that's going to change is if our O-line plays a heck of a lot better, and I mean a heck of a lot better. And then we're not looking at getting stopped on the 50 or the 40. I feel like if our O-line stays improved and we can keep our starters in there, then with the addition of D-Hop and the way Traylon Burks has improved, as long as he can stay healthy, I feel like we can drive the ball and possibly get in the red zone and then have to put up points that way, if not convert for a touchdown. I really hope that's the case throughout this whole season, but we have to kind of take it from a not a fan's perspective and say, oh well, they're every drive they're gonna get into the red zone, because we have to not be biased on this. We have to sit here and say there's gonna be drives where we get stopped at the 50 and we're gonna have to do a 50-yard field goal, and can they make it? That's what I really want to see. From them is more of these 50-yard, 40-yard attempts, these big kicks, so we can see whether or not they're capable of doing this during the regular season. What are your thoughts on those, on all that? We'll shoot it to Lee.
I think there's still a lot to look at, just in general, with everything going on in that room.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot, that we have to really focus on, and to kind of continue to break apart, and let's just be honest. This isn't a battle that's going to be decided tomorrow. It's not. It's going to be one of those battles that will go down to the very last day of training camp after we get done with the Patriot game and all that. It's going to go down to the last cut day, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing now is you're carrying 90 all the way through.
Yeah.
And I think cut day, if I stand corrected, what I saw is August 27th.
Hang on, let me look at my calendar. So that's 2 days after our last preseason. No. So that's the Sunday after, because we play our last preseason game on the 25th of August, which is next Friday.
Is a Friday.
Yeah. And then the 27th is a Sunday. So, yeah, I feel like that's going to give the Titans, a couple days after that. Like I said, it's going to come down to that last day. I feel like, they'll probably be the very last ones they go through and decide on. Do you think that there's a chance that we actually keep both
I'm
of them?
sorry. It's August 29th.
29th. Okay, so that makes
So
more
it's that
sense.
Tuesday.
So Tuesday, yes.
4 p.m. Eastern. You have to be down to 53.
So let me ask you this, Lee. Do you think there's a chance we keep both of them on the roster?
No. Of course, the video has not came out yet. But I think just based off of what they've done in practice, not in game, but in practice, I think Trey Wolf pulls away.
Man, that's interesting. That's very interesting. But what about you, Mason?
I can definitely see us keeping two, maybe for a little bit. Like
Put
during
one
the
on
season.
like practice squad or something.
Yeah, and because just looking at the practice, I mean, they're hitting around the same area. They're missing the same. They're making the same. So it's too hard to tell who to keep right now. So seeing these next couple games, this might be more interesting than the quarterback battle right now.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I say with the new quarterback rule, I really feel, which we'll get into the quarterbacks after we get done talking about the kickers and stuff. But I feel like because of that, and because of us possibly keeping three quarterbacks, we will kind of go to one, and just keep one of them, and
Yeah.
it could be Wolf, like Lee was saying. I think it's going to be very interesting to see.
Because if you look at what Wolf has done in practice, he's hitting them from 50 plus with wind in his face.
Yeah,
I think the longest he has hit is maybe 53 or 54.
yeah, and I think it was
And Shudak has the longest one I think Shudak's hit is maybe 50.
yeah, and I would say it was 2 weeks ago when we had those straight line wins during practice.
Yeah.
And that's, I believe, if I'm correct, that's the day that you're referring to, because that was also the day that Will Levis, Malik Willis, and Tannehill kind of struggled out there on the field passing the ball.
Like, yeah, in those kind of wins, you cannot throw really.
No, you can't.
Like if they're coming straight at you, the wind's going to be like a resistance.
Yeah,
But if you're getting hit from the back, that ball's going to carry.
Yeah, you'd have to have a Warren Moon type arm if you're going to be passing and win like that.
Through 30 mile per hour winds.
Yeah. So real quick, we're going to go to our comment. We got our buddy Al Pierce back in the comments. He said, I still expect us to bring in a vet kicker to compete with the survivor between these two guys. So that is a big possibility. Who is actually is there any available veterans?
I'm fixing to pull that up.
Okay. And while he does that, we'll get ready to break down our quarterbacks. So after he looks that up, we'll jump into our quarterbacks, and then we'll go into the defensive line. We'll give our grades for them. And once we do that, we're going to go to a quick break, guys, and then we'll be right back with y'all. And we got a lot of cool stuff to unpack for y'all here today.
So there's actually some decent ones left. Mason Crosby is still out there. How would you like to bring back Ryan Suckup?
You're not the first one I've heard that. That there's a big chance that we could bring Ryan Suckup back. I wouldn't be opposed to it, to be honest with you.
There's Robbie Gold still out there. Former San Francisco kicker. Zane Gonzalez, who kicked last year in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, that's it.
I'd say, I mean, I've heard somebody
If
else say bring back Ryan Suckup.
if I had my pick, and of course this guy's already gone, Brandon McManus,
Ooh.
I think Robbie Gold is very underrated. I think
and he's 40. Think about this. Adam Vinatieri was kicking until he was 45, 46.
Yeah.
And he was still kicking at a high level at
It's-
45 or 46 years old.
So that's these are some really interesting names, and I think that, if that is the pathway that the Titans end up deciding to go down, it could open us up for some pretty curious stuff, man.
I would love to have Mason Crosby.
Yeah. And
Him or Ryan Suckup maybe.
yeah. Like I said,
Or if you want to go younger, go Zane Gonzalez, because Zane Gonzalez is 28.
Mm-hmm.
But if you wanted to go older, you could look at like a Mason Crosby who's 38.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Suckup is 36. Robbie Gold is 40.
Yeah, I feel like I think it was 104.5 The Zone or Buck
Yeah.
or maybe A to Z who was talking about the possibility of us bringing back Ryan Suckup, and
Yeah.
I think with who all we have right now, and if we're not able to really get production in a live game situation, that might not be a bad idea, at least to help teach the other guys, if of anything.
I would actually bring in a former NFL kicker just as a kicker's coach.
Yes.
Like, Lord, imagine if we could get our hands on Adam Vinatieri.
Ooh. That'd be good, man. I'm telling you.
Because he kicked at a high level for so long. He had several Super Bowl game winning kicks.
Yes.
Early 2000s against I think the Rams, and I want to say the Seahawks. No, Rams and Panthers in back-to-back
Yes.
Super Bowls.
And then Bryce in the comments said, Rob, #2. So, yeah, man. I think a lot of us miss old
Coronas.
Rob. Yeah. We miss him,
Robbie
man.
B.
Robbie B. So, guys, we didn't cover kick returns. So before we get into quarterbacks, let's grade our kick returns. I feel like there's a name that I wasn't expecting to really kind of, I was. I'm sorry. I called this. I think 2 weeks before the regular season. It was in our season 2 premiere. I said Tajay Spears would probably be our punt returner and kick return. And he was out there, and let me tell you, that first drive,
He's got speed.
he got some speed, man. And
I said this Wednesday night. This guy does not look like a guy who doesn't have an ACL, who looks like he has cartilage damage. He doesn't.
no, I mean, this guy apparently has no ACL, like Lee just referred to, and I mean, you
And
could not
severe
tell.
cartilage damage and arthritis.
Yeah.
And
Hey.
he's 21, 22 years old.
Yeah, and there's just like there's no way that, I mean, if you watch that preseason game and that first drive, like you'd sit there and think, okay, well, why wasn't this dude like in the first round? Like, why wasn't he drafted in the first round? Because
Exactly.
he looked that
The
sharp.
injuries.
You'd have
The
no
injury
idea
history.
that he had an injury history at all. Like,
But
that's how
there-
good he looked.
There's a guy the Titans picked up as an undrafted free agent. I'm thinking, how did this guy not get drafted? Who actually didn't do a bad job at kick return. And it's Kierce Jackson.
Yes, he did good too.
he was projected to, I think, be a fourth round pick. The dude went undrafted.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here scratching my head thinking, how in the world did you go undrafted? So in so many words, the Titans just robbed the colleges basically.
Yeah. They learned a lesson from J-Rob before we let him go. Because they always said that J-Rob was, I guess he considered himself like a gunslinger, so always taking the chances on people and stuff like that, with those
Cole
50-50
McDonald.
guys. Yeah. So, you know, I could definitely see that. Man. So what's your grade? What grade would you give the ones we've seen out there? Like, what grade would you give Spears? What grade would you give, I think we also,
Jackson,
yeah, Jackson.
Mason.
Yeah, we seen Mason out there. That's what I was about to say. So,
I think Phillips was out there too.
yeah, Phillips was, and that was good to see because last year he got into
That's
that.
what he. Yeah, he was injured on a kick.
Yeah.
I think a punt return or a kick return.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
But
he also got to where he kept doinking the ball out of his hands.
but out of every name we've mentioned, the guys that we mentioned, I would have to go probably a B.
I agree. I feel like a B is a healthy place to put that grade. What about you, Mason?
I was actually gonna say the same thing. It will be an A+ once I see some touchdowns during kickoffs.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be nice. I don't think
That'd be dangerous.
it's been a while. What I think who was our last?
Mark Mariani
Mark Mariani. Yeah, and you remember
against
y'all
Denver.
remember Pat Man back in the day?
Oh, well,
Ooh.
you know where he's working now, right?
Yes, he is working
Pat
Pat
McAfee.
McAfee show. Yep.
Dude, that's a guy I would love to have on.
Oh man, I'm telling you, bro.
Him, CJ, and Lindell.
Yep. Yep. I wanna get the no free shout outs bussing with the boys on here one day.
Shout out, but it's no free shout outs.
Shout outs, no free shout outs. All right, guys. So let's talk quarterbacks from the Bears game, and then we'll kind of give our grades. We mentioned them earlier. Malik Willis and Will Levis. They both had semi-productive day out there. They would do about 2 drives and then change out, 2 drives, change out. Malik Willis got the very first drive with the starting O-line. Looked very sharp, in my opinion. Was able to drive the ball down the field with, precision and accuracy. He looked like a professional NFL quarterback, and not just any, but he looked pretty sharp out there. And then Will Levis, he had moments of where he would shine, but then he would also have some moments where you could just watch and say, okay, this guy needs a little more time, but if he gets the proper amount of time to just sit behind people and learn, he could be someone who could be very dangerous in the NFL in the future. I'm gonna go ahead and give my grade on him. I'm gonna go as an overall grade with both quarterbacks. I'll go with a B+, and then for each of them individually, I'm gonna grade Malik Willis at I'm gonna give him A- because I've seen a lot of improvement, and I mean to do all the improvement that we've seen from Malik Willis, from the last time we seen him, and I think the last game he played that we seen him in was against Kansas City. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Lee. But I believe the last game we seen him in was Kansas City. Anyway, so I'm gonna give him an A-, and then Will Levis, I'm gonna go with a C. I think I gave him a lower grade, possibly on the Power Hour. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna give him a C. Just because it is his, it's his first year, it's his very first preseason game. I would definitely like to see more from him. And I'm going to say C as a very generous grade because let's be honest, he was playing against third string, fourth string, fifth string, sixth string, people we probably will never see in the NFL stream, you know, and he struggled at times, and then at times he looked good, and so we just need we need to see more consistency from him, and I want to see better situational play out of Will Levis.
Well, Malik started 3 games last year.
Yeah, he started 3, and I think it was
And,
Kansas
yeah.
City was the last one, right?
I think that was his
Let me
first one.
go.
Oh, it might have been his first game. Yeah, you're right. It was, I think.
I think it was.
No, Houston was his first game.
Okay, yeah, we got
Oh yeah. So Texans, Chiefs, and Jaguars.
So he played. Well, he started 3.
Yeah.
So he started the Texans game, the Chiefs game, and then was it? And those other Texans game.
yeah. Okay, so
So he played the Texans twice in Kansas City.
yeah, and he almost won in Kansas City. That's the crazy thing. I think a lot
Yeah.
of people lose track on is he.
We almost beat Kansas City with a rookie.
Yeah, and not just I mean, and he
Who
was
and-
struggling,
Who last year, in my mind, in my opinion, had no business starting.
No, he should have
He wasn't ready.
He wasn't ready. I feel like Malik Willis was drafted as a project quarterback. He wasn't supposed to play that first year. Now, if you go back and you watch our podcast from last season, you'll hear me right. I did a live game coverage during preseason game, and after that first game, I sat there and said, if we take this O-line into the regular season, Tannehill's going to get hurt, and we're going to have to see Malik Willis, and it's going to be way
what
too
happened?
soon. And
What happened?
that's exactly what happened to the T, and so it was too soon for him. And on top of that, not only was the offensive line that Tannehill, a guy who is way better right now at where he's at in his career, not only was he, would he have moments of struggle behind that O-line, but now you're putting in a rookie quarterback who never called plays in a huddle, who came from a system where it was a one-read pass, to now you got 4 or 5 different reads on the field. You're calling anywhere between a 10 to a 20 phrase play in the huddle, and it was
that's
just a
pretty
lot
good.
to put on his shoulders. He wasn't ready for it at all. I agree 100%. So, what grades would you give the quarterbacks as a whole and then individually? Whichever one of y'all want to kind of take it and talk about it first, I'm cool.
Well, Malik Willis, I would say would be definitely have to give him a B. I think he definitely had chances to. There was on the interception. That shouldn't have been an interception because I know the tight end had hands to grab it. But I feel like if he would have thrown it just a little bit better, it would have been an easy completion. Just throwing way too over the head. That's the issue there. And I've been defending Will Levis this entire season. Just feel like he's being overhated. I do know he threw an interception, but that was in the final 2 minutes of a game-winning drive. So I would have to give him a B-. So just a B overall together.
Yeah. And I went lower, and it's not because I don't want to see Will Levis as or anything like that, but I went lower on Will Levis's grade because Will Levis came out of a college system where it was NFL friendly,
Basically pro style offense.
Yeah, it was a pro style offense, and you look at Malik Willis. Malik Willis was, junior varsity, if that. It wasn't. I wouldn't. Even, it was what
It's
you
like
would.
varsity versus JV.
Yeah, I mean, and so I feel like we should have seen a lot more out of Levis, and that's just me being honest. Like Levis had the opportunity to separate and to show why we traded up to get him, early in the second round, and when he got out there that first drive, it was a 3-and-out, and it wasn't a pretty 3-and-out because he was very, very slow. He was slow in the pocket. He was slow going through his progressions. I remember texting April, during that drive, and I said, "Wow, because Levis looked slow to me. Like he has the arm talent, but he has to pick it up. And if you come from a pro ready offense, you should at least be able to do these things already. And so it was a little concerning for me. So that's why I said, a C, and that's being more on the generous side. What about you, Lee?
With Malik, I love the improvement. He was very decisive. He was, like, you saw a lot of maturity, a lot more confidence in his ability this year. So I'd probably go B plus also. But I'm gonna quote James, who I'm with at the network. The other guy does not deserve to be called by his name. So I'm gonna call him Frank Abagnale. Because in my mind right now, based off what we saw, Will Levis is a con man.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go like you said, you went lower him because it's like varsity versus JV.
Exactly. Like, I mean,
and so with Frank Abagnale, basically, I'm gonna go D minus.
D minus. See, yeah, you're keeping it more real. I was trying to be a little generous there. Because I know a lot of people.
Levis, Abagnale basically should have mopped the floor with Malik. He should have mopped the floor with Malik. Like, Malik had no business going out there and, yeah, improvement's great, but he shouldn't have been playing like a varsity quarterback when as you mentioned, he came from a one-read system at Liberty.
Yeah. And, like, honestly, like, we weren't supposed to see Malik playing like this, until he was in his third or fourth year, because that's what they told us when Malik was drafted is, this is a guy that you shouldn't be expecting to see play until his third or fourth year, because he was a developmental quarterback. And, when we drafted Will Levis, this was supposed to be the guy who was supposed to come in here and take the reins from Tannehill. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be mean, but so far from what we've seen, it don't look like that's going to be the case. Like, one of the biggest things I noticed right off the rip before before the preseason started, which during OTAs and rookie mini camps and all that, was his things that he struggled with in college transferred over into the NFL. So his accuracy problems, because let's face it, he struggled with accuracy a lot in college, and that's alluded to most of his interceptions in college. And if you don't mind, could you look up his touchdown interception ratio throughout his years in college for me? Because I can't remember what it was off the top of my head, so I don't want to get this wrong. But you got to, like, I felt like we've seen a lot of those things kind of transfer over into our like I said, mini camps and OTAs and then training camp. he has developed. He's been a lot more accurate as of late, but he's also still continues to show the same old things that he's shown in college. And, as far as when it comes to playing on the field, I'm not seeing enough out of him, this definitely during situational, stuff that he should, like we said, stuff that he should already know and be capable of doing coming from a pro style offense. So I really agree with what you said, as far as James, saying that he was a con man. It really is, and
And you were talking about his touchdown to interception ratio.
yes.
In his college career, overall, 46 touchdowns to 25 interceptions.
So almost half.
Yeah.
Almost half. And like,
But the dude threw for almost 6,000 yards in his career in college.
how many years did he start though?
He started, I want to say, 2 years at Penn State because he played 2 years.
Yeah.
But he really did not start until 2021 at Kentucky.
Yeah. Okay.
He played, well, it doesn't say game started, but he played in 7 games in 2019,
Okay.
8 games in 2020, 13 in 2021, and 11 in 2022.
Okay. So, and that's because he got, if I'm correct, he got hurt in 2022.
I don't know.
Mason, do you know that? Did he get injured during his senior year?
I think he set out the bowl
I know
game, maybe.
he messed up his finger one game, and
Yes.
they put it back in that game, and he threw a game-winning touchdown. That's where I knew him from, so that was kind of interesting to see.
But then I think he set out the bowl game.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's all very interesting there.
But he threw 19 touchdowns last year at Kentucky. The year before, he threw 24.
What was his interceptions to touchdown just from last year?
19 touchdowns, 10 interceptions.
Ooh, yes.
So almost half.
Oh yeah, no, that's over half actually. Because it's over. He threw over
He,
over half.
he,
That's the tongue. That oh man, y'all try
Yeah.
saying that.
but in 2021, he had 24 touchdowns to 13.
Okay, see that's not so bad. I mean, it's still bad, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
So I mean, either way, is when you look at it, he does have, that issue there, especially with his accuracy. So but it's something that he's gonna have to figure out, and he's gonna have to figure out on the fly because I think with what's actually going on, we'll actually get into all this a little more here in a little bit. But I think with everything we got going on, I think the number 2 QB is actually set in stone now.
And
But
it's Malik.
yeah, it's Malik, and we're gonna
Unless Levis comes out and just straight up balls
yeah.
when he gets a chance.
Yeah. Well, we're going to actually toss it to Mason real quick and just let Mason maybe, give another, defense. Because I know Mason, has been, like you said, he's been kind of defending Levis. I feel really strongly and passionate about, about quarterbacks. And, I like Malik Willis. And so it's when I say this and I'm kind of giving my thoughts and opinions on Levis, it's not because I want to see Malik over Levis. I want the best quarterback to be in there at QB2. I'm saying it because it's what I see. It's the struggles I see. It's the issues I see, and I feel like from where he came versus from where Malik Willis came, from where he should be at versus where Malik Willis should be at, it's just like now it's almost like a night and day difference. So, I'll give you, the floor real quick, Mason. Is there anything else you want to kind of talk about when it comes to Will Levis?
Well, I do like both quarterbacks, but I really just do think Will Levis will have a year that people will just understand that he can play a lot better than what it seems. And when you have Tom Brady as a player you want to be like, you know, right there, you're about to win 7 Super Bowls, so that would be nice. Uh, and he just has a lot of determination to win. Because after interviews, Malik Willis, yes, he does really well, but once the game's over, he doesn't really care about losing. Like he doesn't. He's just there to be there. It seems like he's not upset. But looking at Will Levis, you can tell how upset he can get. So it's just interesting to see off the field as well.
Yeah, Willis is a very positive, upbeat person, so he don't really bring that side, to the podium, which for me, I kind of like that because it's unique. You don't see a lot of people staying positive even through the ugly. You know, and when it comes to having that presence about him, I feel like last year we didn't see that from Willis. We didn't see that leader quality from him, where especially during press conference, and when he came into the facility to practice, he was quiet. He hardly said anything. And I'm gonna quote Mike Vrabel real quick. Mike Vrabel said that Malik Willis, has that it factor about him this season. He said it radiates off of him. You can feel it, you can hear it, you can see it. When Malik Willis is in the room now, where before you didn't know he was there. When Malik Willis comes into the building, when he leaves the building. And just to hear that come from Mike Vrabel's mouth, that tells me that everything that we were, was concerned with like what you just said, out the window. Because those are qualities that you want in your starting quarterback. Now, Will Levis, I'm not saying doesn't have those attributes, because he does, and I'll just say they go about it differently, and but Malik Willis definitely has developed in that aspect, from last year. So it's been really cool to kind of hear Mike Vrabel actually stand up, because this is the same coach who decided to bench him and go with a free agent in Josh Dobbs, and now you got Mike Vrabel actually basically going to the defense of Malik Willis, and just saying how much he's grown, how much he's developed. And I think if it's that big of a thing that Mike Vrabel is coming out and saying it, then I think it's something that is worth noting and maybe taken to heart, because Mike Vrabel was someone who was really hard on Malik Willis last year. Even pulled him during the first preseason game. And now we really see that Mike Vrabel is actually backing Malik Willis, even when it came to the interception that Malik Willis had last week. Mike Vrabel straight up came out and said, that wasn't fully on Malik Willis, and I wouldn't put that on Malik Willis. When a lot of your national media people are saying that was Malik Willis's fault for throwing that ball too high. But I mean, like me and Lee kind of agreed on Monday during the power hour, was if you get both hands on that ball and you drop it, that's on you. That's not on the quarterback. That's on you. But yeah, I think Will Levis is going to be somebody who we might see as a QB2 next year. I don't see it this year. I really don't. And I'm not trying to be mean about it. I just think that I think if something was to happen, and let's say hypothetically, we're going to do our hypotheticals here. Hypothetically, if Malik Willis, or if Malik Willis ends up being QB3, Will Levis QB2, and Tannehill, our starter. Something happens to Tannehill, and then Levis goes in. You have maybe a, let's see, I wouldn't even go 50-50 chance of winning, and that's just because of the situational things that, like we alluded to earlier, coming from a pro offense, these are things that he should already know and already be comfortable with and not struggling with. The only thing that should be different for him is the speed of the game. That's it. I mean, that should literally be the only difference. And it's clearly not the only difference that we really see out of him. And I mean, like I said, I think Will Levis is going to be a great quarterback. I do, but I don't think it's going to be this year. And that's just my honest opinion on that whole situation. Lee, do you have any final thoughts you want to kind of toss out there?
Not on the Titans, but I do have some breaking news that came out 4 hours ago.
Let's break it, brother.
The Colts are signing former Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver James Washington.
Ooh. So the Colts are trying to make a comeback because they are losing pieces left and right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, we're going to have to do a segment one day where we actually go, I think we'll do it right before the regular season starts. And if you ain't got nothing on your schedule, Lee, we'll try and get you back on here. And what we'll do is we'll actually... Go ahead.
Let me think. The week the season starts, or
yeah, it would be the Saturday because I think our first game's on a Sunday, so it'd be the Saturday before.
I don't have anything on my schedule as of right now.
All right. Well, put us in on your calendar, and we'll have you back on here, and we'll actually go in depth, and we'll break down each division. We'll break down who do we think's going to win the division, the whole 9 yards, and we'll actually kind of go through the schedule and Titans schedule as well.
September 9th.
Yep. So that's actually so that would be because we'll have Michael Bishop coming on the show September 2nd. And then, so we'll have you back on right after him.
The week after, yeah.
The week after, yeah. So that works, man. So yeah, I mean, this is a great conversation, guys. I really liked everything we talked about with both quarterbacks. I think, however you look at it, I think that Titans have positioned themselves, for the long haul, and developmental quarterbacks, And that could be a good thing. That could be a bad thing. But I think with where we're at right now, Tannehill's our guy. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. He's our guy. We're not talking about somebody trying to, like, the national media, they'll sit here and say, oh, Levis is going to take Tannehill's job this season. Well, he's not playing good enough, blah, blah, blah. No. Right now, the battle that's going on is who's going to back up Tannehill. It's not who's going to take Tannehill's spot. It's which quarterback is best suited right now to be the backup in case Tannehill gets hurt. It's not who's going to take him, who's going to be the QB for the franchise, because we don't know that. The Titans traded up to get Will Levis, but it may pan out that that's not the case and it's Malik Willis, or it may pan out that it is Will Levis, or you know what, it may pan out and it not be either of them, and we have to take another quarterback. We don't know that yet, and I think the biggest thing is that they're both having development. They're both having to develop, and I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing because if you sat there and you had a battle for the QB1 position going on right now, then it divides your locker room, because you're going to have players who, want to lean towards Tannehill, then other players who feel like, okay, we need a new captain under center, So,
well, I came across an article, a Titans article, saying that there's a couple starters that are in danger of losing their job. and one of those starters was Ryan Tannehill.
Where is this article?
I'll have to find it because I sent it in the group chat, the network's group chat,
Yeah.
and Derrick Henry was also in there.
Oh wow, that's interesting. That's interesting. I mean,
And this was before preseason week 1.
okay, that makes sense. That it really does make sense. It was before week season pre one. I said, Lord, I'm getting tongue tied. Oh,
I think we're all getting somewhat tired here too. So.
yeah, yeah. All right, guys. So we still got a whole lot of stuff to unpack. We spent quite a bit of time just really getting into
Over an hour.
Yeah, getting into the quarterbacks.
Like an hour and a half. So.
So what we're gonna do? Hey, what's going on, brother?
Hey,
How's it going, man?
oh man, I'm just jumping in here for a sec. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Hey, while you're on here, I want to give you a quick shout out. You know, this is Mason's dad. Everybody, he's the one who actually helped me revamp our logo here. So I want to give a huge shout out to him. Real quick, man, you want to give your predictions for tomorrow's game?
Oh man, yeah, here it is. Ready?
Let's
We're
hear it.
gonna win.
Yeah, let's do it.
That's my prediction. We're gonna win.
We're gonna
We're
win.
gonna win big. No, I think it's an opportunity for a lot of players to kind of shine through and kind of see what these guys a lot of these guys trying to make the team. You know, this is where the battle is for them. So, you know, coaches are gonna do the right things to get those guys involved and to see what they can do. And so it'll just be fun to watch it. Those guys really do battle with these. What do we? How many more games? We got 2 more games.
2 more
this
games.
season, so
Yeah.
it's going to be fun to watch. Vrabel's leading it, I guess, this time.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, it'll be fun to watch. I just hope no injuries occur. You know, that's the bummer part of these games. Worrying about, but we're not having any starters play evidently. So, anyway, yeah, it'll be good to watch. But we'll get a W.
Yeah, yeah. I'm calling for the W too. I feel like we have a lot more depth than the Vikings. What were
I
you?
saw a post right after Traylon got hurt that said, "Man, we might as well wrap all our starters in bubble wrap."
Yeah.
Yeah, probably should. Man,
Yeah. The only downside to the starters not playing,
They're not building that
can y'all hear me
chemistry.
okay? I'm kind of far from the mic.
yeah, we can hear you
You're
great,
right.
man.
Okay. Yeah, the only problem with starters not playing is they are more injury prone when the first second game comes around. So
Yep.
you know, I know we don't want to get anybody hurt, but at the same time, I always like to see some just play a few snaps just to get the feel for it, you know. But
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, I doubt that'll happen. But I mean, I don't know. I haven't been watching, but what y'all been talking about. But since Burks has gone down, you know, who's going to take that number 2 spot? Who's going to fill in? I'm kind of curious to see where they go with that. If Hopkins gets doubled up a lot, not in the preseason, obviously in the regular season.
Yeah.
I don't even know how many games Burks is out. But,
I think just the 2 preseason games.
okay, so yeah, it
the-
might take a little bit of time to start getting healed up. But
I
yeah,
would-
when you got injuries and stuff. You know, you got to be very careful. But the coaches do. That's a lot on them because they've got to now go. Okay, who's going to make this 53-man roster? Who are we going to keep as, you know, if one guy goes down, maybe we weren't going to keep that extra wide receiver, but now we might have to, and then that definitely you know, hurts the chances for somebody that might get cut that wasn't going to get cut. So it's just it's going to be interesting to see, and like I say, I hope we don't have any injuries. But against the Vikings, I think we're going to be good. We'll get that W. I think let's go with let's do a low score. Let's go 21-17.
21-17.
Yeah.
But as you were saying about Burks, I looked at the recovery timetable, and it's 2 to 6 weeks.
Oh, 2 to 6 weeks.
Yeah,
But
so
they're saying he could be back in 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So with that being said, you just you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, who's going to take that? Who's going to take that number 2 spot, right? And I think preseason is going to have a lot to do with that to see how
Yeah.
it goes. Um, but Hopkins is going to be doubled a whole lot, and hopefully it's not that full 6 weeks. But an injury like that, you don't want to put him out too fast, especially if you start winning games. So if they start winning games 1, 2, 3, and Burks is still on that borderline of should he come back or not, they'll probably hold him out a little bit longer just to keep him rested if we're getting those wins.
Yeah.
So, somebody's got to step up.
Right now, it's looking like Burks could be back for week 1.
Okay, well that's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good news. But in this league, anybody can go down, and then what? Levis went down a little bit, right?
Yeah, and we still don't know the the
Exact- we
logistics
don't know
behind
what-
his injury yet.
We don't know exactly what it is. All we're being told is it's a lower body injury.
Yeah. So that's a bummer. I mean, obviously
Like,
he's
it
making
could
the
be-
roster, right? So it's not a big deal.
Like
You
it
know,
could be his hamstring or his calf or something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
there's
so I've been one to say Willis is going to be that number 2 guy anyway.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Is my thought anyway. So I'm thinking Willis and Levis they're in the long run battle this year to see who's going to be that number 1 possibly next year.
Yeah.
Hopefully Hill does his stuff, and I'm pulling for him. So we'll see what happens, but they know that they're in this battle for the long run until next season comes about. So they're going to be both learning, and hopefully Levis is okay. But I like all of them. I like all those guys. I think they all bring something interesting to the table. Obviously, Levis has a strong arm, really
Yeah.
strong arm. He lets that ball go quick. If he can control that a bit, and obviously learn the system really good. Which, by the way, offensive coordinator, I'm really pumped to watch him, see what he comes up with, all the plays that he comes up with Henry.
he's not Todd Drowning.
The last time Hopkins worked with him was with the Texans, and Hopkins was all pro that year.
Yeah.
That was the last time they worked together.
And he went for over 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's going to create some nice plays for him and work.
They
Henry
might
to
recapture. They might recapture that Houston Magic.
Yeah, and watch this. You will. I bet you're going to see a lot of play action rollouts this year. You're going to see a lot of play action rollouts. Henry and then Hopkins down the field, maybe a little slant or straight out. But I think you're going to see a lot of those play actions this year. And I believe Chestnut. I really want to see him. I think he's really increased in size, muscle strength.
Yeah. He looks swole like Derek does almost.
There's a guy that if I were you, I would keep my eye on, and it's Jaquise Patrick.
Nice.
The running back we signed to a 2-year contract.
Yeah, out of the XFL.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
he's literally an inch shorter than Derek, and then like 10 pounds lighter. So he's almost like Derek, just a little bit smaller.
But he's a threat, and he's a threat in the run game. He's a threat in the pass game. I looked at his game against Orlando. He took a screen 40 yards.
Wow. Yeah. Like I say, this offensive coordinator, he's going to have some plays up his sleeve.
Oh yeah.
And don't watch out for Henry's touchdown pass to one of the quarterbacks this year. That's what I'm
Yes.
That's my sleeper play.
Yes.
Double pass.
He's
Double
going to throw a pass to one of the QBs this year.
I've been saying that, so I said, watch out, because we'll either see it from Derek or we're going to see it from like one of the backup QBs. Like if Malik Willis gets in there, because Tannehill is a former receiver, So they could literally be, on the 10-yard line in the red zone, and pull Malik Willis out there, and then send Tannehill on a run out wide, and boom, there you go. You got that connection right there.
Yeah.
The thing that scares me about that is, what if Tannehill goes down?
Better cross your fingers and hope for the best. No, I say this, man. Like we were just saying. I feel a lot more comfortable with Malik Willis because, especially now with this injury, I really feel like it just solidified Malik Willis at QB2 for this season. Of course, we won't know until it's time for that final official roster, but I really feel like Malik Willis is going to have that QB2 slot behind Tannehill because I feel like he's just, out of the two, he's more ready to get in there and win a game. And he's shown that development. He looks night and day like a different quarterback. He don't look like the quarterback from last year.
Yeah, so we were at the Chiefs game last year. We got to see it was unbelievable to see, not one completed pass to a wide receiver that game. But I have to say, Willis wasn't ready, but at the same time, he just didn't have any help whatsoever, right? So
yeah,
I think he's learned a lot. And then when somebody drafts a quarterback after you go, I want to still get my paychecks. I'm going to work really, really hard, and I think that's what he's doing. I think he's trying to prove himself, and I think he's going to be okay. I really like Willis, but I like all three guys, so it's hard. It's tough.
Yeah, it really is. I think it's good that we have this battle going on right now. Because like I told everybody, right now the Titans' focus isn't on who's going to be the quarterback, starting for us next year or the year after. It's who's going to be the best to go in behind Tannehill if Tannehill goes down to win us the game, and then from that point, see if there's still development throughout the season, and if there is, can this guy be the guy that you call your next franchise quarterback? So it, who knows? We can get Malik Willis out there.
One extra note on that is you've got Levis and Willis this year, an entire year they get to spend to see, and a lot's going to depend on the locker room, right? So it's a lot on the field, but also off the field. In that locker room, who are the players going to look up to the most, right? So who's going to be a leader behind Tannehill, and that's going to play a role too in how that kind of moves forward in the future.
Definitely. Forgot my mic was muted there, guys. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's going to be a really, really cool thing to kind of see play out. What do you think about Tajay Spears?
Man, what I saw from him in that first preseason game, it really got me excited.
Yeah.
Just because of the speed.
Yeah.
And the quickness. When he was first drafted, we were at the draft, and I remember, we were standing down there close to the bottom, and I remember people saying things about him. But when he was drafted, I said I didn't know much about him, but they talked about the ACL. Now, I've torn my ACL before, and I've had a replacement and all that stuff, and it is the hardest thing to do. Now, I would play basketball, and I was kind of stubborn. I actually had 0 ACL, and I would go play basketball. I'd always pop my leg out of place, right? I'd have to, it would stiffen up, so I'd sit down and I'd pop my leg back into place literally, and it would pop back. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, how does one play without an ACL? So I don't understand that whole thing, but it looks like it's working out for him.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
As long as he stays healthy, I think that guy is going to be awesome.
And you just alluded to like how your knee would pop out of place. Like I've had a slight tear, so I slightly tore my ACL. It wasn't a full tear, but and you're right. Like you can literally feel like your knee is popping out of place when that stuff happens. But one thing that really caught my attention, and maybe you can kind of allude to this as well, but you know, to see his shiftiness, like when I remember seeing a play there in that first drive where he broke to the left side of the offense, and then he just gave like that Chris Johnson like juke and just blasted straight through the right side of the offensive line and got a really good gain. You know, I was just like, wow, you know, how is he able to do that with no ACL? Because, I mean, he planted and just changed direction like it was nothing.
Yeah, yeah. It was interesting because in ACL you gotta it's to really help your left to right movement, right? So um, I'm baffled at it, but hey, as long as it holds together and he's doing well, hey, he looked awesome, man. We need more of that. And you know what? He's a shifty player, so he does a lot of left to rights and stuff like that. But he also I noticed a pretty sweet stiff arm he did on a guy. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's not afraid to get dirty, you know.
Yeah, you know, Lee actually on his podcast, the 615 podcast, he actually played the clip of that stiff arm, and Lee said it's the second coming of Derrick Henry with the stiff arms there. So
And that's a good point too. The guy has Derrick Henry to learn from.
yes,
Talk to him, sidelines, all that stuff. So yeah, man, it's nothing but you know, it's interesting to me how all the critics are. I think they said like the win column like 4 gave us 4 or something like that for the
Yep.
year,
Oh man,
which is baffling to
Adam
me because-
Stankface of the NFL Network.
So yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of like, right, we lose a little bit, right, but we've gained, we've really upgraded our team. And
Yeah.
So I don't understand how
Specifically
you can go
offensive
down
line.
from 7 wins down to 4 if you upgraded.
Well, and so this is my point I made on all that because we actually broke that down last week, and you know, this is the point I made is, you know, first of all, last season there were 4 total games that we just had no chance of winning. The Bills, the Cowboys, one of the Jaguars game, and there was another one. Oh, and I can't think of it right now. Eagles. That's right. Yeah, Eagles. Thank you, Mason. And you know, it was just there's no way like we would have won those games. Every single one of the rest of the games, it was a one score game, like legitimately
So was
one
Dallas.
score.
Dallas was 1 score, I think.
Yeah, no, Dallas was actually a 2-score game.
Okay.
Yeah,
But every other game, like we almost beat Kansas City with a rookie.
yeah.
Right.
Like
And without any
as
passes
we-
completed.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
and,
And
as we
we-
mentioned, we almost beat with a rookie who, in our opinion, had no business being out there.
yeah. Like he wasn't ready
Yeah.
for it.
Well, he had 0 people to throw to. I mean, it was a mess, and people gave him a hard time at that. I get it. It's the NFL. We want W's. We want to see you jump in and do everything right away. But hey, check this out. You know how many games Peyton Manning won his first year?
Ooh, that's a good man. 3?
He won 1 game,
Okay.
Oh, wow.
and that's Peyton Manning we're talking about. So we owe it to Willis to have a bad game just thrown in, right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
whatever it might be, or even a year, right? Once these guys get it together, and once they really understand the system, and they've got a good coaching staff around them and good play callers, good coaches, all that, man, it can really turn around. I remember what year it was. Matter of fact, it was the year you were born. I think the Panthers played the Patriots in the Super Bowl. The year before that, let's see, the Patriots went to the Super Bowl that year, and this was in 2003. 2002, the Panthers won like 1 or 2 games. I might be way off, but they were terrible the year they went to the
Yeah.
Super Bowl. So my point with that is, you can really change gears in a hurry if you have the right nucleus around you. You have the right coaching staff, the right players, the right locker room. guys
Exactly.
behind you. So, in my opinion, and I'm biased, but in my opinion, man, I see our schedule being really easy. I see it really being
Yes,
easy.
yes.
And I see this team doing great things. And I really feel Tannehill is a top quarterback. He
Yep.
doesn't make a lot of mistakes if you really watch him, but the ones he does, we really harp on. But man, he's a
They
good
they
quarterback.
normally
good
come
leader.
in the most dire situations.
Yeah. He's a good leader, and I think he's gonna have a really good year. Let's
Oh,
stay
yeah.
healthy. Let's stay healthy. Let's everybody get along and just have a healthy locker room.
Yes.
And I think it's gonna be great.
I agree, and one of the things you were just kind of alluding to, just having the right nucleus around them, and that goes, back to the whole 4-13 prediction that they gave us, you know, in 2021, we set the record for the most injured players, and we finished like 12-5. Or
Yes.
yeah, and then you turn around and you look at last year, and we came really close to beating our own record from the year before with injuries, and we still finished at 7-10. I feel like you got to put some respect on Mike Vrabel's name. You got to put some respect, because what he's done with less has been tremendous. And we've added a lot of pieces into this year. My record prediction for this year, I mentioned a couple weeks ago, was 14-3. I feel like you said, I agree that this is going to be an easy schedule for us. There's going to be a couple close games. I know we're going to take the division back. But of course, I'm a little biased, as you can tell. So, but I really think that we have a huge opportunity in front of us with this roster. I think some of the new pieces we have on the O line. Granted, they stay healthy. I think we could really shift the narrative around the Titans. Whether the national media picks up on that, I don't know. But they got to learn to put some respect on Vrabel's name and put some respect on this team, because 4-13 was like a low shot.
Yeah, Vrabel is a player's coach, right?
Yes.
And so he's a coach that players look up to and respect. You know why? One of the reasons is because he trusts his players. If you notice, a lot of the play calling he does, he's not afraid to do a few things and put his trust in the players. So they respect that. They want to play for him. Coaches want to be around him. He's a great coach. I really think he's going to do great this year. But as long as we, one, keep our team healthy, two, keep those turnovers down, and especially in crucial moments, work the clock the way it needs to be worked, run the ball, utilize all of our skill set players the way we need to. And one thing I'm really looking forward to is I think you're going to see a lot more tight end play calling coming this year. I think
Yes.
with this new offensive coordinator, I think that tight end is going to be more involved this year, which in the past few years we just haven't used one.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. I think the tight end is going to be a very, very vital piece to our offense this season.
And I think look in the red zone, you're going to see a lot of tight end throws.
Oh yeah.
That's just my opinion, but we'll see what happens.
Well, yeah, I mean, 'cause, the defense can't cover everybody this year. I mean, with the addition of D-Hop, and then when Traylon Burks is back to health, being 100%, and the improvements that he's shown, you stack 9 in the box, the ball's going to get thrown over your head, whether it's to Chig, whether it's to D-Hop, whether it's to Burks. Then if you decide to double one of them and pull 9 out of the box, and Henry's going to just jam it straight through the middle like he always does, So I feel like the recipe that they built here is, I think it's a good recipe. And I think, as long as, granted, like you said, everybody stays healthy, I think we have a huge chance, of this possibly being one of the better rosters that this franchise has seen, offensively in the last, 4 to 5 years.
Watch this. First game of the season, I'm going to call this right here. Here's what's going to happen. It's going to be a touchdown throw. It's going to be the very first touchdown that we do. We're gonna throw the ball to D Hop in the end zone, and he's gonna be triple covered. Right? That's my guess.
Like
all
to
right?
play in
Now, when
Arizona?
that happens, the whole stadium is gonna erupt, which is gonna cause a domino effect for a Super Bowl. Now, you
Yep.
heard it here first.
Yep. All right, guys, y'all heard that here first on the What's Shaking Titans podcast. So definitely mark your calendars for the first week regular season. We're gonna see that triple coverage play.
Triple coverage on Hopkins in the end zone. It's gonna be a 20-yard throw. all
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and this kind of going back to something Blaine Bishop has said on 104.5 The Zone is, that year that they went to the Super Bowl, he said there was a particular play that happened during the regular season that when that play finally happened, they looked at each other, everybody in the locker room, and they all said, you know what, we're them boys, we got this. Can't nobody beat us, and look at what that built. Once that confidence was built, we were Super Bowl bound, man.
Yeah, it can take just one play to get everybody together.
Yes.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a fun year, and I'm excited to see it. What do you
Definitely.
think, Mace? Who's going to score the first touchdown?
I could see either Treylon Burks or, I think a Chig touchdown with two people on him could be a very,
The Chig double team?
yeah, I think that could be a good potential.
Oh, that's what you're okay. All right.
Yeah. How about you, Lee? Who do you think gets the first touchdown?
There's really only one person that could be. Derek.
Yeah, there we go. How many
Well,
people?
60-yard run.
Yeah.
How many people you think he's going to take in on his back when he does it?
Oh no. Nobody's going on his back because they're all going to be laying scattered.
Who you think we'll see? You think we'll see another Josh Norman out in space?
No.
We gonna
Not
give him
only
company
one Josh
out there?
Not only one Josh Norman, but three.
Oh, so we're gonna
In one play.
we're gonna give him extra company because Josh Norman's still floating out around about in space somewhere. So
Because he probably hasn't made it to the moon yet. So
yeah, man, dude, this is awesome. I'm glad you kind of hopped on, man. We
Yeah,
we
man.
definitely appreciate it. Your takes are awesome.
So I was just kind of coming in here and thought I'd poke my head in for a sec, but
Yeah, well,
Anytime,
hey, we'll have to
man.
have you on.
yeah, appreciate you. I'll jump on anytime you want, but usually I'm here when y'all do this thing, so I'll poke my head in and say hello.
All right, yeah, definitely, yeah. Well, I'll shoot Mason a message and we'll get you put on the schedule. Have you come on here soon and me, you, and Mason rock out an episode together. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that sounds great, man. Well, hey, thanks for letting me jump on for a second. It's good to see you guys.
Yeah, bro, it's good seeing you. Man, great takes again.
All right, guys, have a good evening.
Yes, sir. You too. All right, guys. So real quick, we've had a awesome show so far. It's going on 2 hours now, so we still got a little bit more to unpack for y'all here. But what we're gonna do real quick is we're gonna go on a quick 10-minute break. That way, my co-host can have time to go get them something to drink and breathe for a second, so we can regather ourselves. I'm gonna have some background music going, and we'll be joining y'all back live in just a few moments. For in the meantime, guys, if you're not yet following our YouTube channel or subscribe to our YouTube channel, please take this time to hit the subscribe button, as well as turn on notifications to get the latest from What's Shaking Titans, as well as give us a big old like. That will help us out with the YouTube algorithm. That way more people get to see our videos. It will pop up more often. And as always, guys, give us a follow on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and Spotify. Guys, we'll catch y'all back here live in just a few minutes. Thank y'all as always. Stay shaking.
Turning back, I won't stop, I'ma fight until there's nothing left. It's so on, you're gonna be hurting bad, cause I've been to hell and back. You don't wanna make me mad, I stay strong, you will never see me crack. And if you get in my way, you gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math, when I hate, I attack. I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like
Let's go. Yo, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that?
This episode of What's Shaking Titans is powered by Bailey's Barbecue. Bailey's Barbecue, smoking good barbecue.
Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same, cause that's what it takes. Pieces is a form of art. I'm never gonna look back, cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same, cause that's what it takes. I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody.
This episode of What's Shaking Titans is brought to you by Bailey's Barbecue. Bailey's Barbecue, smoking good barbecue.
I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win, I'll take a stab. I wanna chase the bag, I wanna weigh, I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I got a taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch. I'll give up everything. If I could see my dreams, I'll make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what I want a reality. Don't let go. I'll make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what I want a reality.
I just wanna find a way out, sick of the venom in my brain. Running from the past, wanna escape my pain. I just wanna be a better person, I deserve this. I just wanna break these chains. Always asking for greatness, true to myself, I never fake it. Seen too many once that I so they get famous. And when I say the truth, most really can't take it. In spite of everything I've been through, I'ma make it. Fake friends, but on my downfall, it's toxic. Day one, started to outlaws for profit. Now all I do is write verses, no talking. All I do is put the work in, no option. This was everything I ever wanted. Created a legacy off of me, just being honest. And the fake ones hate, but it's all to no avail. They wanna see me lose, but you know I never fail.
This This episode of What's Shaking Titans is powered by Bailey's Barbecue. Bailey's Barbecue, smoking good barbecue.
Don't let go. I'll make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make one a reality. Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. No pain for their disease. Rage is like a weed, spread into the streets. It's time to make them bleed. 'Cause we just want retribution. Let's go light up the darkness.
This episode of What's Shaking Titans is powered by Bailey's Barbecue. Bailey's Barbecue, smoking good barbecue. Welcome back, everybody, to What's Shaking Titans. I am your host, Gary Bailey, and joining me right over here is our special guest, Lee Hills from the 615 podcast, and then our co-host, Mason Hollingsworth. Guys, I want to take the time just to thank y'all for joining us today, as well as Lee, brother, go ahead and give some shout outs to everything that you're doing. Let the fans know where they can find you, the whole 9 yards, brother.
Yeah, so it's of course it's staying pretty quiet until the regular season starts. But of course, you can find me on Instagram at _615 podcast, on Twitter at or X at podcast 615. Of course, you can find me on YouTube at the 615 podcast on YouTube. You can also find me on the Titan Upload Network, where we have 7 incredible content creators under one roof. And you can also find me on Monday nights with Michael Bishop from the Power Hour.
All right, man. Awesome. And then Mason, go ahead and give a shout out to your social media platforms and where people can kind of reach out to you as well.
All right. Well, first, just want to shout out my dad, art by James Ryan. You can kind of see some of the art he does back there. Derrick Henry over there. My Twitter is Titan Superfan.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, James Mason's dad, he helped us revamp our logo, our What's Shaking Titans logo. Mason and his dad were, I think they were some of the first people I had commented during my live game coverage. And I actually chose Mason to come on as a guest, and from there we hit it off, and I was just like, you know what? Why not join us? So, definitely want to give a huge shout out to his dad, definitely for stopping in, man. He has some awesome takes Guys, man, it has been a long show. It has been an awesome show. We have hit on so many topics. But right before we get into tomorrow's game, guys, let's talk about the Will Levis injury. Let's talk about a couple scenarios that could play out tomorrow. With the quarterback situation. With Will Levis being out, there's a possibility we either see, Tannehill come in for a drive, or we could see the possibility of seeing Malik Willis, the whole entire game. So want to kind of get your guys' opinion on that. Do you think we'll see Malik Willis for an entire game? Do you think we might see Ryan Tannehill on the field? And we'll start out with Lee. Lee, what do you think on that, man?
Oh, I think if Mike Vrabel is smart about this, you have to give your starters at least 2 drives together. So, I'm talking like Ryan Tannehill, DeAndre Hopkins. I would not put Derek out there. You would probably want to get DeAndre out there. You'd want to get Ryan out there. You'd want to get Chig out there, just to start building that quote unquote chemistry.
Yeah. Yeah. And well, typically when we do see the Titans starters take the field, it's normally had been in the very last preseason game. They normally
we have not seen the Titans starters at all in the last 2 preseasons.
Yeah. And, normally, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but normally they consider the third game the dress rehearsal game.
Well, last year, you didn't see Ryan Tannehill in Game 3.
Yeah.
The year before, you didn't see Ryan Tannehill in Game 3. What happened in both those seasons? You get beaten your season opener.
Yep. I think there's a stat going around. I heard it on Good Morning Football. Something along the lines of, or no, it probably was on 104.5 The Song. So take this with a grain of salt on where it came from. But there's a stat that
I've got news on Levis.
Okay, let's hear this news. We got breaking news.
Titans quarterback Will Levis is questionable for Saturday's preseason game due to a toe injury.
So it's a toe injury.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound good.
So, yeah, I think you keep him out of the game. I think
I think you let him rest this week.
Yeah, let Willis have
have him back for New England.
Yeah, and then you can kind of see what he has there. Real quick with Mason, let's get your thoughts on that, man. What do you think? Do you think we'll see Malik Willis, the whole game? Do you think Tannehill should get out there? You think he should do it against the Vikings, or do you think he should do it against the Patriots? What are your thoughts on all that?
Well, before the Will Levis thing, I think just don't play Tannehill until Patriots. But now I do think you play him for at least a quarter, maybe a half, no more than that. But I would say just let him, play for a quarter, because But I could also see putting Willis in a full game situation for the full time, with switching between starting offensive line and backups, and seeing how well he can do with both. That would be interesting to see.
So Mason's kind of suggesting the Andy Reid way of doing it. So Andy Reid has announced that you will see Patrick Mahomes and all the starters for the first half of the preseason game. I think they play, what is it, tomorrow, if I'm correct? The Chiefs? It's either tomorrow or Sunday, but regardless, I think if you keep them out there that long, then you're really starting to kind of play with fire at that point, because you got a lot of people who are hungry, trying to make a team, who's going to do absolute anything and everything they can to get out there and make a name for themselves, or to put something on tape. And so the likelihood of getting injured then goes up. So I think if we do see Tannehill out there, I think you'd play it safe, 1-2 drives at most. Give him that little time to gel, kind of build that chemistry
with
under.
DeAndre and
Yeah, and especially with the live speed, game reps, I think it would be good. But honestly, guys, if you ask me personally, I'd wait till the Patriots, and here's why. I think that a Bill Belichick, coach team is going to be,
your best test.
Not just your best test, but it will also be, they're I feel like they're better coached in a way of, some of these players you see from other teams, they will go out here, they play a little extra fiery, or I just feel like it gives you a little bit of more of a safety room. I feel like the players should just be coached up enough to say, okay, well, we're not going to go and hammer this guy, as hard as we can and try and take him out. Where, the Vikings, we've already been in, fights with them.
Tier chart.
Yeah. Chart. So I think everyone makes a great and valid point, to your takes on that. Either way, let's hope that this toe injury isn't like something that is too severe for
Turf
Will
toe?
Levis. Yeah, hopefully it's just something like turf toe. Maybe hopefully he will be back for that game against the Patriots. I guess it really just depends on the severity, because if I'm correct, when Burks got turf toe, he missed
He was out for like 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Yeah, so there could be a chance that we actually don't get to see him till after week 1. Even then, at that point, you probably wouldn't see him. But
Unless both Tannehill and
Malik goes down.
Levis get hurt.
So, yeah, knock on wood, hope that don't happen. All right, guys. So, that was a great take. So now we're gonna get into Tennessee Titans versus the Minnesota Vikings. Guys, what is one thing we really want to see from the Titans against the Vikings? And Mason, shoot away, brother. What's one thing you feel like the Titans have to show you, whether it's on offense, defense, special teams? What is that one thing that, Mason, you're going to be looking for to see if the Titans can show you tomorrow?
I got a couple things. One thing we really need to work on, and what we really struggled last year, was third down stops. We got our way to thirds and tens, and we still give that up. That's something you cannot keep giving up, because that's giving them so many points down the line and just causing us. They just kind of give up after second play for some reason. And also, watch out for screenplays. You can't let what DJ Moore did happen again.
Yes, yeah. All right, how about you, Lee? Is there one particular thing you want to see from the Titans? Whether, like I said, offense, defense, special teams.
Well, I'm gonna go all the way around.
Okay.
Because most people say that there is three parts to the game. No, there's 4. Your offense, special teams, your offense, defense, special teams, and coaching. The thing that I'm coming down to is one word, and it's consistency. You need to find consistency in the starting in this game. Like as Mason mentioned, the screen game. You need to avoid that at all costs. Coming from a defensive aspect. You need to get better. You need to be consistent. You need to find your pass rush. But offensively, you also need to protect.
Yes,
That all flows into being consistent.
Yeah, definitely. We got to build consistency all around, I think one of the biggest things against the Titans over the last, 2, 3, maybe even 4 years is we'll have one just outrageously stellar half of the game, and then the other half is just, where are we? We're in the locker room asleep, it seems like. So yeah, I agree 100%. Let's see if we can develop that consistency, on all sides of the ball, through a complete game, through a 4-quarter game. Do you have anything else you want to continue with? Okay, so my take, one of the things I really want to see from the Titans is, of course, we talked about the consistency, but I want to see pressure on the quarterbacks. We didn't see a lot of pressure, on the quarterbacks. The Bears quarterbacks had, all day long to pass the football. We weren't getting to them. We weren't causing no pressures. When you cause pressure on the quarterback, you open a door to bad plays, bad decisions by the quarterback. Whether you get a sack or not, you've got to get pressure on him, cause him to throw a ball incomplete, cause him to throw an interception, or even come up with the sack, but we've got to. That's going to be the one thing I'm going to be focusing on. The second thing is our offensive line. We have to do a better job. We have to do a better job of protecting the quarterbacks. And I'm not going to sit here and say all 8 sacks were completely on the offensive line during that game, because some of them was because of the quarterbacks, taking too long going through their progressions and, etc. But we still have to do a better job at protecting and building a pocket for our quarterbacks and also opening up running lanes for our running backs. So those are going to be my 2 things that I really want to see, kind of want to see from the Titans against the Vikings. And to add a bonus in, I want to see more consistency from our kickers. I want to see a 50-yard. I want to see a 50-yard kick made. I want to see those big long kicks. I want to see them kind of what we've been hearing and seeing in practice. I want to see that during a live game situation. All right, guys. So with that being said, who do y'all believe needs to have a breakout game this week? Who do you think is in most dire need of a breakout game? Lee, we'll go with you.
There are 3 guys in my book.
All right.
Mason Kinsey.
All right.
Mason Kinsey. Kierce Jackson's a guy that needs to have a game. And another guy is Josh Wiley, the tight end.
Yes. All right. How about you, Mason?
Well, I definitely agree on the Josh Wiley one, but I want to see, how well our 7th round pick Colton Dowell can play. I haven't seen too much about him, and I just want to see how much of a role he can play in our offense.
Yeah, so you feel like Dowell needs a breakout game this year or this tomorrow. All right, so yeah, I really agree with everyone y'all mentioned, especially on the lines of Mason Kinsey. I feel like he is a must to have a breakout game, for sure. So for me personally, man, y'all kind of took a couple of the guys I was going to take. So off the top of my head, I say Haskins. Haskins has to have a game. He has to have a game because, Chestnut is there. I feel like Chestnut's going to separate himself. And if Haskins wants to be a part of the 2023 Tennessee Titans, he's going to have a stellar night. He's going to have to separate himself. He's going to have to put up some yards, some touchdowns. We're going to have to see, some catches out of the backfield, just the whole 9 yards. We need to see why he is a professional running back. Go ahead.
Also, Jaquise Patrick is right there.
Oh, yeah. So I'd put both of them, Well, I think Hashawn Haskins is more at risk of losing his job. And so that's why I feel like he needs to.
When you're mentioning guys that are there,
yeah,
Jaquise Patrick, Julius Chestnut, Jonathan Ward.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I forgot about Ward.
That room there's so many guys in that room that any of those guys could make it.
Yeah, I agree.
Behind Derek and Tajay.
Yeah, because obviously Spears is going to be our RB2, and then, King Henry is going to be King Henry at RB1. But, yeah, I feel like Haskins is in that need of, separating himself and showing us why, he's going to be a part of this roster, whether it's on special teams or actually in his, paid position as a running back. Let's see what you got, because you got a lot of stuff going against you this year with the charges that come against him. He's got a lot to prove to us.
And his court date is, I want to say, in like a week or two.
Yeah. So that'd be kind of interesting to see how that plays out. And then, you mentioned Patrick there. I want to see him, but I don't feel like he has to have a breakout game because we just got him. So I'm really going to be interested to see how he plays this game. So that's going to be something. I'm going to add into something I want to see from the Titans. Is I want to see Patrick out there, doing his thing. All right, we'll go to. All right. Before we get on the next topic, do either of y'all have anything else y'all want to kind of add? Anybody else that you feel like has to prove themselves this game? Because if they don't prove themselves this game, they'll no longer be a part of the roster.
Well, basically all the backups and third string offensive linemen.
I was gonna say Chris Hubbard, which you got it right tackle. Another guy. There are a lot of great guys in that secondary. One guy that I feel like is probably at risk of losing his job is Amani Hooker.
Ooh. Yeah.
That's an interesting one.
That's very interesting.
Because you have Marsh out of Washington State, the rookie.
Mm-hmm.
You could also look at probably a guy like Trey Avery.
Yeah. I think the battle, in our secondary is going to be something that we really got to pay very close attention to. Because it's just we got torched through the air last year, and we got torched through by the Bears, during preseason game 1. So, yeah, the secondary is definitely going to be something we want to keep a close eye on. I think just for the sake of saying it, but Christian Fulton, I want to see him on the field, and I want to see him. I want to see what everybody's been talking about.
I don't know. Did you see that video of that one-handed interception by Christian Fulton yesterday?
No, I didn't. Can you send it to me after the show?
Coolest catches, yeah.
It was incredible.
Oh, man.
He literally went up, and I don't know who the receiver was, but he literally came down.
Yeah.
With it one-handed.
He pulled an OBJ too.
Yeah.
He was facing the other direction.
Yeah.
Oh wow! So he really did pull an OBJ.
Yeah.
Like he was a wide receiver.
The reverse Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's if you can send me that video after the show so I can check it out. And so I want to see something from Fulton. I don't think he has to necessarily have a breakout game in preseason. I just want to see the improvement that everybody keeps talking about. I physically want to see a team try and pass the ball through us, through the air on us, and we just start eating them alive. I want to see such a vicious Titans defense that it puts the entire league on notice. I'm getting a little fired up talking about this. So, all right, guys. So let's go ahead and we'll talk about starters that we want to see and that we think we will see tomorrow. We'll go Lee. Lee, what starters do you think we will see, and then what starters do you want to see tomorrow?
Starters I think we could see is maybe a guy like a T.R. Tart, maybe.
Yeah. Well, you think they'll do that even though the fights and stuff?
Oh yeah. Maybe a guy like an Arden Key, maybe.
Yeah.
And then offensively, I think you'll probably see a Peter Skoronski a little bit, and maybe work with Brewer.
Oh, those are some interesting people you named there for to see tomorrow. What about you, Mason? Is there anybody in particular you want to see versus people you think we will see?
I just want to see quarterbacks' faces whenever Jeffrey Simmons starts walking from the sideline.
They're like
Seeing
they're
him
all
getting lined
happy, and
up.
then they're gonna be like,
Yeah.
Oh
One play I
man,
really
why
think
we
is
choose to
that-
do this? I need a new business.
Yeah. They just quit right there.
Yeah, man. I agree. It'd be awesome to see Big Jeff out there. You know what? Just for the hay of it, I want to see. I want to see Big Jeff. I want to see Harold Landry. I want to see Tierra Tart. I want to see our whole entire defensive line just trot out on the field for like one drive, and it don't even have to be against their first team.
No.
Like I don't care.
say-
I just want to
I
see
would
their
say
faces.
One play.
You see
play.
them walk on the field and just walk off. Out the lineup.
Yeah, just put their helmets on and start to get on the field and like, never mind.
Yeah.
Look, that it's gonna mess with their heads so bad if they did that. Like every other play, they get up and do that.
Yeah. Titans, feel free to use this.
Yeah, just remember, you heard it first right here on What's Shaking Titans. So, definitely give us all credit for this because we came up with the idea. So you can hire any one of us to be, your next assistant coach. So there you go.
It would be also really
I
cool.
can't
because
find the
if
video, but I
Harold
will send you the
Landry
picture of
comes
it, Gary.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Yeah, definitely send me the picture. And then you were saying you think it'd be pretty cool to see Landry.
up. Yeah, because I mean, he got hurt
I
all.
want to see
last
how
season.
he would be after ACL.
Yeah. So, and he looks like he's basically back to full health. I mean, he's looking
Yeah.
fine out there. So I think it would be cool to see him go for a little bit.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree 100%. Like, at least let me see the combo between Landry and Simmons during the game. Just once, just scared
Just once, yeah.
scare the crap out of the second,
Kind of
third,
like a-
fourth string
Yeah,
people.
Yeah.
Or take Tart out and put D'Anico.
Yeah, Danico Autry in. Oh man, yeah,
Put Jeff and D'Anico right in the middle, and then put like Rashad Weaver and Caleb Murphy.
Okay. If it's preseason, can we please put Derrick Henry on the defense for one play?
Oh my God, yes.
That linebacker.
You know what? Let's just call it what it is. Okay, Will
Put
Levis.
Grable in there.
Oh yeah, let's put Braves in there. We'll put Braves
That's
in
why
there
we
for
have
a
our
drive.
coach.
There you go.
Yeah,
We'll put Braves in there for a drive. Then we'll make Derrick Henry the honorable QB2 as well. So
We are great coaches.
yes, we are. We are phenomenal coaches.
Please hire us.
We'll also put Tannehill in there at wide receiver for a drive.
I really wanted
Dude,
to
if
see
we
that last year with all
if
the
we were the
receivers.
coaches and we put Braves at linebacker, every quarterback would instantly start sweating bullets.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you. Just imagine like Braves, Big Jeff, Tierra
They would be
Tart, Harold
be like-
Landry.
They would instantly be like, "I'm retiring."
Yeah.
Like, oh man, like screw the gold jacket. I'm done.
Kirk Cousins would be like, "Ow, my hip."
Just start to walk on the field and then, oh,
My leg. or like from SpongeBob. Yep, my leg.
oh my goodness, man, that's awesome. Yeah,
think
we.
Or trip and tear their ACL.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mason. What'd you say?
Do you think they'll play their starters this game, the Vikings?
I want to say I think I heard something earlier. It says they're not, but I could be wrong on that. So don't hold me to it. Maybe Lee can check that out for us real quick.
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, I think I was listening to something on 104.5 The Zone this afternoon while we were in Nashville, and it was Titans' former president and also former head coach of the Vikings. They had him on, and they were talking to him, and I think he mentioned something about them not playing their starters. So, I don't know. That might have to be something we wait and see.
Yeah, just wait and see.
All right, guys. So real quick, we're gonna finish this show off really quick here, and we're gonna give you our game day predictions. We're gonna give like whether it be touchdowns by a certain player, blah 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 blah. But our ultimate game prediction is gonna be our final score prediction. So guys, you want to give your game predictions for tomorrow, and just whichever one of y'all want to go first, just shoot for it. Oh, you want me to go first? All right. So here we go. All right, guys. So tomorrow for the Tennessee Titans versus the Minnesota Vikings, I have the final score being 28-14. Tennessee Titans. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think the Tennessee Titans will be able to air the ball out. I think Malik Willis is going to ball out during that game. I say it's going to be a 3-touchdown game by Malik Willis. It's going to be over 180 yards for sure this game. And then my last predictions is we will get at least a minimum of 3 or 4 sacks. So we're going to shoot it over to Mason. Mason, you want to give your final game score prediction and any other prediction you have?
It's really funny that you said that because I have a score right next to that. I have 27-14.
Ooh,
And we missed the extra point because our kickers just are not doing good.
that's good. I mean, that's not good, but it's good.
It's not good. It's more realistic. And it's funny that you said 3
So-
sacks because I was thinking that's all we would give up from our offensive line.
Yeah.
So you're kind of just saying the same thing as me or about. So if we play our starters, then I could see us getting 10 sacks minimum against that.
We put Braves out there. How much does that total come up to?
Him alone, 15.
God.
So I just got news from Rossi and Titan Upload. Malik Willis is playing the entire game.
Let's go! I knew it. I told you.
And of course, some news I got earlier today. Jadavion Clowney,
Oh yes, is with the Baltimore Ravens.
Baltimore Ravens.
Feel bad for them.
Do you know the contract he signed?
On is a 1-year deal.
Okay.
Was it 1 year? I thought
Yeah.
it was 2
Yeah.
years ago.
But my score prediction, I've went back and forth with this. We did this on the show Wednesday night.
And
we also did
Monday.
it on the show Monday. So I think I'm gonna have probably a third different score, maybe.
I feel like I did the same thing. I think I came remotely close to the first score I said. I just don't remember.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 24-21.
Yeah.
Tennessee. With Malik having 2 passing touchdowns. One of them, I'm gonna go off. I'm gonna go and say Hopkins does play,
Oh, that'd
and
be
he
so
catches
sick.
one of them, and he catches one in double coverage.
Yes. Oh, I'm so fired up now.
And I'm gonna say, I'm gonna up you, Gary, on this. I'm gonna go 6 sacks.
Woo! Yes, sir.
And one of them being a blitz.
Is Mike Vrabel on the field?
Who?
I said, is Mike Vrabel on the field?
No.
No.
One of them is a blitz from Jack Gibbons, Dr. Gibby.
Dr. Gibby. Getting Dr. Gibby in on it.
Line him up outside your outside linebacker or your edge rusher.
Oh my gosh. Bro, I forgot all about Gibby.
Or-
Dr. Gibby,
actually,
Big
actually,
Jeff,
I'm sorry.
Harold Landry.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God, my mind's about to
I'm
explode.
taking that sack. I'm taking 1 sack away from Dr. Gibby. I'm gonna say Armani Marsh, the rookie out of Washington State. in
Yeah.
the slot.
Yeah.
Sort of like what who was it? Caleb Farley did in Tampa.
Yeah, first of all, we're going to speak on Farley for a second. Do we really know what's going on with him and why he's on PUP?
I don't think he passed his physical
Oh, okay. Well, that explains it then.
because that's the only reason he'd be on the PUP list.
Yeah.
is if he didn't pass his physical.
Yeah, I didn't know if maybe he got re-injured or something.
I'm gonna
or
say this. I said so when we had Brent Doherty on the Power Hour a couple months back, I said I see Caleb Farley getting cut.
yeah, I agree.
If I'm the Titans, I eat that $8 million. I eat it.
Yeah, I mean, what's an $8 million steak
Because-
for dinner?
That's nowadays to people. That's nothing,
Just call Gordon Ramsay up. He'll cook it for you.
dude. Believe it or not, one of the guys I love watching when it comes to cooking is Gordon Ramsay.
I love watching. Man, that's how I learned. All right, so for a lot of people who don't, go ahead.
Like his scrambled eggs,
Yes,
I can make them.
Yes, that's how I learned
Just
how
like
to.
he does.
That's how I learned how to do my steaks, man. Like, and for a lot of people who don't know this, I am a cook. Like, I love cooking. And I've always loved cooking my entire life. But it was watching Gordon Ramsay that helped elevate me to that next level of cooking. Yep. And man, now I've kind of found my own groove. As y'all know, What's Shaking Titans is powered by Bailey's Barbecue, so that is a company that I own, and it does sponsor us on air. It's really awesome, man. I don't really credit Gordon for the barbecuing part, but it was getting me started on that, elevating my game to the next level.
And then, of course, here I am over here sitting here eating.
Yeah. So sorry about that, guys. I know y'all. If you're watching us live, you just heard a phone ring. That was my fiance calling me. So, but all right, guys. Yeah. Any last things y'all want to say? Y'all all good? All right. So real quick before we get out of here, we want to take the time to thank our special guests for this week's episode, Lee Hills of the 615 Podcast and the Power Hour. So, Lee, real quick, man, take the time to give the people, let them know where they can find you, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, so as I've said a couple times, so third time in this show.
Third time's the charm.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at _615 podcast, on X at podcast 615. You can find me on YouTube, the 615 podcast. And you can also find me on the Titan Upload Network. And on Monday nights on the Power Hour.
Awesome. And then, Mason, you real quick, you want to give your social one more time and give your dad a shout out as well?
Yeah, so my dad, art by James Ryan, does a lot of sports art, a lot of Titans, a lot of different teams, but there's one in the background, Derrick Henry. And for mine, every time I say it, it's so funny. It's on Twitter or X. It is Titans Superfan. That's so I guess it's just a fun thing to say.
So I have actually won one of the giveaways, Mason, your dad did.
Really?
And of course, I'll show it afterwards. Which it still plays with my heartstrings a little bit because I got this like a month before this whole thing went down. And it was the AJ Brown piece.
Oh, that's cool.
Which it still hurts.
Yeah. Yeah, seeing him on the Eagles sideline just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And then for him to go out there just dominate us last year.
I'm telling you, it's not. It sucks.
Dude, like, he kicked us into a new millennium.
Yeah, he did. But All right, guys. So that's all from us here at What's Shaking Titans. As always, want to give a big shout out and a special thank you to our special guest from this week, Lee Hills of the 615 podcast. Also want to give a huge shout out to our co-host, Mason Hollingsworth. Guys, it's been an awesome show. Thank you. Once again, guys, if you're not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please take the time to hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications to get the latest from What's Shaking Titans. Turn on all notifications to get the latest from What's Shaking Titans, as well as give us a big old like. That will help us out with the YouTube algorithm. That way more people get to see our video, and we'll pop up more often. Give us a follow on Facebook. Share us out to all your friends and your groups and all your chats, as well as on the X. We're on X at What's Gary, and then follow us on Instagram and Spotify at What's Shaking Titans. Guys, I hope everybody has a blessed and highly favored day. We'll catch y'all later. Much love. Peace. We're out of here.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me.